welcome to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, and I am joined by my wonderful, wonderful co-hosts, Judy Loge and Audrey Lynch.
You're wonderful too, Veronique. Hello, everybody. Audrey, Daryl.
Here we are again, back together, and you know we love our times together. Now, of course, we are together but apart. We are more than socially distanced. We are each in our own homes, and of course, online, logging in virtually, which we have been doing for nearly 2 years now. So, although it is not my favorite way to see you ladies every week, it is still an opportunity for us to get together. So, I'm glad for that. And we're going to kick off the show as we always do with a wonderful quote. And Judy, you have our quote of the day today.
I do. And Veronique and Audrey, you would know. I can't think for the life of me who sang the song Alone Again Naturally, because that's how we're all feeling. Who sang that? You're too young.
I don't know.
Alone Again Naturally.
I'm sure it'll come to me like tonight. It'll come at 2:00 in the morning. I'll be like, oh, that's it.
It'll come to me in 5 minutes. Okay, the quote I had was a little bit different, I guess, because usually it's pertaining to individuals out there. But in this chosen moment, I have decided to go with the dog prayer. I know that you have dogs, I have dogs, or at least, Audrey, you have one and you have cats. So here it is. The dog prayer: treat me kindly, my beloved friend, for no heart in the entire world is more grateful for your kindness than mine. Don't be angry with me for long, and don't lock me up as punishment. After all, you have your job, your friends, your entertainment. I only have you.
I know.
It's true. It's so true.
That's why they're so happy to see me when I come home.
We are their everything.
Yeah.
We are it.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
Oh,
I love that.
Absolutely. And you're so right. And I love that. And I'm feeling I have my old dog Bud, and he's been an old bachelor for 14 years, living with me alone. And he's gotten, he has a certain personality and he likes his space. And of course we got a new puppy before Christmas, and I love Winston. Yeah. He's a puppy, right? He wants to play, he wants to, explore the whole world, but he and Bud don't get along. And so Winston wants Bud to play with him, and Bud does not want to. So Winston bites his bum.
Oh, nice. Okay. Alone again, naturally.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So Winston bites his bum, and, Bud growls, and then Bud looks at me with these huge sad eyes, like, what did you do? Why did you bring this little thing home? And when are we getting rid of him? Because I don't like him.
Oh,
hopefully it improves. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, that was mine anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll find our way. So you know what? We're in the month of January. There's lots of snow. We've had snow this week. We had snow last week. There's more snow to come. The days are still short. They are getting longer, so that's a good thing, but the days are still short. And you know what? The January blues are something. And, everybody's living with it right now. But you know what, Audrey, what are you doing to get rid of the January blues?
I'm actually doing little projects around the house that I haven't been doing, and like corners that are getting all cluttered up with debris and just getting myself a little more organized. I watch TikTok, and some of the ones that I follow are, cleaning hacks and organizational hacks, and how to make even just one drawer in your house, because we all have that drawer where everything ends up, and it's just a huge disaster. And me cleaning that one drawer out and fixing it so it actually slides in and out properly, and now inside the drawer itself is all organized. I love opening that drawer, and it makes me feel happy. And it's just a drawer, but little things like that, little projects around the house that I'm letting go are making me feel better.
Nice.
About being stuck in the house.
What about you, Judy?
I'm doing projects as well, like cooking and cleaning and laundry. Haven't been done in a while. No, I'm joking. Those are the
Yeah.
routine. What I'm doing, yeah, those are my big projects right now. What I do every morning is, and this sounds so cheesy, but I've had to make myself and train myself to do it, is when I wake up, which is a blessing in itself. When I wake up and I lay there for a few moments and become orientated, then I have to have my coffee. So I go and get my coffee, and then I lay in bed and I just either read a bit of a really good, something that's uplifting, or a bit of a novel. And then I say a few little prayers. And then what I do, which is a highlight for me during the winter and most year round, is that I was very blessed when we moved into this house to have a built-in beautiful electric sauna. So it can seat, probably 6 people. And I go in there, and not only is it beneficial for your skin and circulation in your brain and your body, and it's exercise because your heart beats up. We've talked about this before. That's my time, whether it's in the morning, which I try for, or in the evening before I go to bed, to just lay there and be. And some people don't pray, but I love to just pray. And if I don't, that's my time to pray. And if I don't pray the whole time I'm in there, before I start, suffocating in there, is to reflect and what's ahead of me, and what I want to accomplish. And if I can't, what are some little ways I can make change? And I just kind of, it's my time to think and be quiet. And that's the best thing I've done for myself during January.
Oh, that's amazing.
What about you, Vero? What about, thank you. What about you, Veronique?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be really conscious this year of, my own mental health and my mom and dad's mental health, because they're, right now we're in level 3 of the provincial pandemic plan, and so that's, we'll call it lockdown. I don't like the word because I'm tired of it, but I'm trying to be really conscious of my own mental health. I have been a mental health advocate for a while, as we all have, but so I'm really trying to um, be present in how I'm feeling and realize how I'm feeling in those moments when I do get stressed or pressured or whatever it may be. And I spend an incredible amount of time in front of screens now, because I'm, in front of a computer screen for, 8 to 10 hours a day. And then our council meetings have gone virtual now in the evenings to try and keep everybody safe and healthy. So I'm in front of a computer screen for another, 3 hours in the evenings when we have meetings. So it's really tough, to be honest. I find that really draining. So I'm trying to find ways to not be in front of screens when I can be. I'm trying to read a little bit more. I'm trying to get outside when I can. It's been a little bit cold, but I over the weekend, went out and took some walks. And listen, I'm not a big, exercise person, as we all know, but I'm trying to incorporate it more. I'm trying to feel better around what that looks like. So, I'm just trying to be more aware of how I'm feeling and then deal with it in that moment. And I know, same with mom and dad. I know that it's hard, right, to kind of navigate everything that's happening and all the news and all that stuff. So just really being conscious of what this influx of information is doing to us, and it's not always positive, right? But trying to keep in mind that we're cleaning out my closet. I did that over the weekend, and that was good. So it's those small things, I think, really.
When you say, Vero, like a little bit cooler, are you referring to the minus 12 or the minus 30?
You always go with the wind chill. Always.
Oh, my sister, my poor sister, and I'm the same with Audrey's daughter. My sister lives in Spain, and her daughter lives in Spain. And Jennifer said, "Oh, she made the mistake of saying the other day to me, it's chilly here. It's 15." I said, "You better. If I was close enough to slap you, I would." Because she was obviously on the plus side, but that's why one of the reasons why they moved there too. But anyway, enough about that. It's been chilly, and we'll live with it. We're Canadian.
You know what? I totally agree with you, right? Because I'm not a huge winter lover as I get older. And I'll tell this little story. So it's kind of a dumb story. So on the weekend, right? So we had just gone into that phase 3 of, or level 3 of the pandemic plan,
Winter
and
plan.
so we weren't allowed to, the winter plan. So we weren't allowed to, it's one household bubble, and not really allowed to do anything, right? So anyway, dad is a respite caregiver for mom, and he's also part of our household bubble. So there's just mom and dad and I, and that's how we control that. So anyway, we were down at dad's, and I decided that I needed to get out, get some fresh air, and go for a walk. Well, it was minus 31, right? And so I'm not sure why I decided that needed to happen on Saturday. But anyway, so I put on my 47 layers of clothing that I could get onto my body. But the one thing that I had forgotten, I even had a little headband for my ears and stuff like that. The one thing I had forgotten was a scarf to cover my face. So I'm like, well, the wind is pretty wicked out there, and it's minus 31 with the wind chill. What are you gonna do? So I got
wear a mask.
No, well, I thought about it, and then I got a terry cloth hand towel, tucked it into my hoodie that I had like zipped up, to kind of encapsulate my head. And I have a picture of it, so I'll share it. But here I was walking down the street, like the little abominable snowman in a red terry cloth hand towel, and all you could see was my little eyes right here. Yeah,
attractive.
It was not sensible in a lot of ways, but it was a great little walk.
For sure, you did your thing.
Yeah, you knew that temperature before you stepped out, so
yeah.
You willingly went out.
I mean, it wasn't smart, but it was, it was good for my breathing. We'll go with.
Good for you. Good for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the end of December and the beginning of January, we have lost some incredible acting icons over the last number of weeks, and of course, it kicked off with poor Betty White leaving us just a little bit before her 100th birthday. So it would have been her 100th birthday on the 17th. She left us on New Year's Eve, 2021. So really the end of, yes, that's right. Your t-shirt, be a Betty, not a bully. I love it.
That's right.
She left us at the end of 2021. And so I like to believe that she went up to heaven to say, okay, enough is enough. We need to do some good stuff now.
Yes. She was
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, and we lost Sidney Poitier, who was an incredible actor, and of course Bob Saget.
I know, I love them all. They were all so like every human being's exceptional, but what they gave to the world, in not just in entertainment, but for example, to comedy is such a skill, right? And to make people laugh, and Betty White to make them laugh like that, and Sidney Poitier to break the color barriers, and to come out so strong as a young Black man. I mean, they really made a statement. And Betty White, with her legendary love of life, she just passed on other people. It was contagious, a thing she had with other people as with the other two, and she loved animals, which we do too. And so today, this week, I guess, on her birthday, just a couple of days ago, people were asked to donate to, for example, the SPCA in Miramichi locally was one of the organizations. And yeah, I love the old Sidney Poitier movies, and I love Full House. I'm going to miss them all really a whole lot.
Yeah. Oh, America's Funniest Home Videos is where Bob Saget really, really took off for me. I can't tell you how many. I'm pretty sure I've watched every episode that he ever hosted. It was a fabulous show. I actually know people from Miramichi that actually sent in the video that won the $10,000. So it was, yeah. I've often thought of sending in videos.
We could send the one in of Veronique going for her walk.
Yeah.
And maybe
that would be a great video.
Funny that they'll have a new host though. But yeah, God bless them all, right? And like Veronique just said, like some people want to be 100 and live to that 100 mark. She almost made it, but to live that long is quite an accomplishment and huge, a blessing for sure.
My grandmother was the same. She passed just like Betty White, just shy of her 100th birthday as well.
Oh my gosh. It's your time. It's your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just about to wrap up this segment and head into an incredible show with some wonderful guests. But Judy, do you have a real quick thought-provoking question we can answer?
Um, sure. Okay. On the thing of animals, real quick for either one of you, if you got a beautiful animal and had never been allergic to animals ever in your life and brought one home, your family fell in love with this new pet, cat, dog, hamster, and you were allergic to it, would you take the allergy pills or would you rehome the pet after you've gotten to
Oh, I'd
love
take the
it?
pill. I'd take the pill. Absolutely.
I'm very allergic though. Audrey, you too?
Yeah.
I would take the pills. If they worked, I would take the pills. Yeah. If I really love this animal,
Okay.
definitely take the pills. I thought you were
Okay.
going to ask which animal we'd really like to have if you were allowed to have any pet. I was all geared
Okay.
up
What
to
would that
answer
be?
that.
Okay.
Next,
You, what would your pet? What?
a
A
monkey.
monkey.
A monkey.
Oh,
I'd like to have a little
okay.
monkey. I know.
Ah,
I know. It's crazy.
I think
I don't.
if I had the option, I would get a koala just because I like the huggy aspect of it, right? So,
Yeah,
Oh,
me
but
too.
I mean that like yeah, I would never do it, because you want them to
No.
thrive in the wild. But if I like
yeah.
if nothing was a consideration, it would be a koala.
I'd have 100 dogs, but then I'd be divorced and left with a house and 100 dogs. So I think I'll stick with
Yes.
my
Yeah,
two and my husband at this point.
very
Cruella de Vil, we
good.
call you.
Yeah. You know what? We have a great show ahead. Our guests are incredible. They're actually new guests to us, and neither one are living here in Miramichi, so it's really a great province-wide thought and awareness for what they're going to be talking about. So we're so excited about that.
Mhm.
So don't go too far.
Yeah.
Grab a hot beverage or a cold beverage, depending on how high your heat is at home, and snuggle up for a great conversation and a great rest of the show. So don't go too far, and we'll see you right back after the break. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, and I am joined by my ever beautiful, always wonderful co-hosts, Judy Loge and Audrey Lynch.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back again.
Yes, here we are in our new segment. And listen, we're so excited about the guests we have today. And joining us first is our first guest today, Sharon Hines. And she is the Rogers Sports and Media. I'm looking down at my notes to make sure I get it right. Rogers Sports and Media All-In Manager. Welcome, Sharon.
Mm.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks for
Thank
joining us.
you. So you are brand new to our show, and we are so excited to have you, and we're really looking forward to hearing all about this initiative. So I'll get you to introduce yourself to our viewers so that they can get to know you as we do.
Okay, great. So, hi, everyone, and thank you again for having me on this show. My name is Sharon Hines, and I am the manager for the Rogers Sports and Media All In Initiative. A little bit about me: I was born in Guyana, South America, and so my background encompasses a lot of international and the industries, different multiple industry sectors, from banking to finance to accounting, fashion industries, project manager in industries. Coming to Toronto, into Canada early in the early 90s, I started out my broadcasting career at Kiss 92 Country when it was a new country station. And so I'm so proud to be one of the women, diverse women, who actually was a part of setting up three radio stations, Kiss being one as a country station. Then in 2001, working with the operations for Flow 93.5, which is Canada's first urban radio station, and then also assisting in setting up, Pride, the first Pride radio station in Toronto, and then the first
Oh.
urban Caribbean radio station. So, broadcasting is in my DNA. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, you know, my style is I love to meet new people. I go on this people, purpose, like passionate. So those are my three
Mm-hmm.
P's, like people and passion and purpose. And I've always like diversity inclusion has always been in my DNA growing up, throughout the course of my career. And some of my proudest moments are, in 2020, I was the award recipient for Canada's Accomplished Black Women in Leadership in Community Philanthropy Initiatives. I'm so proud of being also the 2020
Beautiful.
Rogers Employee of the Year Award and the Rogers CEO of the Year Award. I love mentoring, I love giving back. And so I've done a lot of like mentoring workshops at especially at McMaster University for the Black engineering students. They have a program called The
Mhm.
Hunt where it's engineering students and students from all different diverse backgrounds come in and they learn branding skill sets, interviewing, how to interview effectively, reviewing their resumes and critiquing that.
Mhm.
And within the community, I work within here in Scarborough, Ontario, making hoops basketball for youths, which in the ages of 8 to 17. And the fun side of me, I love fashion design, reading, cooking, home decor, and knitting. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
That is so
Amazing.
utterly amazing. What a woman you are. And you had me at the word fashion, but we'll keep on moving. So, my question is, you talked about all in, and why does Rogers Sports Media believe this is so important, Sharon?
So, great question. So, if you recall the events of 2020, so first we were hit with the pandemic. And then,
Mhm.
after the senseless death of George Floyd, which was viewed across the world globally, this exposed
Mhm.
the true extent of systemic racism in Canadian society.
Mhm.
And Rogers Sports and Media felt that, they listened to the employees, they listened to the customers, and they felt, you know what, we need to take an unprecedented and necessary steps to even go further. And what's our superpower? Our superpower is our media megaphone. So they understood and recognized the unique role and responsibility. And using our media mega platform, what a way to really amplify those voices that are not normally heard, and ensuring that these businesses, are really get out there and amplifying difficult conversations as well.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
All In initiative is an action focused inclusion and diversity initiative, which is built on five pillars: business, community,
Mhm.
content, mentorship and sponsorship, and hiring and
Mhm.
career advancement practices.
Can you tell us, Sharon, how does one become or a business become part of this initiative if they wanted to be part of it and do something along that line?
So, first of all in is it's a $10 million commitment over 5 years to provide free advertising and creative services to build an inclusive Canada. So, part of the criteria is that you need to be a Canadian registered charity, non for profit organization, or community organization, or local businesses that support or identify as BIPOC or equity deserving communities. This is
Mhm.
part of the eligibility and criteria for consideration.
That's
Okay.
great, Sharon. And just so that we make sure that all of our viewers, because sometimes some of the terms we use here on the show are new, right? Not
Yeah.
everybody is
Mm.
as tuned into social media as we are. So can you talk to us a little bit about what BIPOC means so that people can identify a little bit better there?
Absolutely. The term BIPOC, it means Black, Indigenous, people of color. Also, we're all in supports the LGBTQ2S plus community, people with
Mhm.
disabilities, and women, which is very important. Women from all backgrounds
Incredible.
and non-binary, all.
Thank you.
Wonderful. My question, Sharon, was with regard to your leadership. I wanted to know, um, you're known for cultivating new talent, and I want you to talk to that, and also about cultivating that and creating high performance team environments. That is so, you know, much needed in this day and age to have things roll successfully in the leadership world and in what you're doing through the Rogers program.
So this is like that's a really great question. So when I think back to when I joined the Rogers organization back in 2012, and it was about that at that time, it was to launch a new legacy system for television, and I was tasked with doing the data migration strategy. And in doing the data migration strategy, you had to think about how do we do this and do this effectively within cost. So you can
Mm-hmm.
actually go out and hire a number of people, or what we did is that we reached out to universities who had, like for co-op students who were studying, it didn't matter what these students were studying, it could be business tech, radio and television, engineering students, but when you go through a process and you have these eager young university minds who are looking to really, they bring in a fresh mindset. And so part of that, I have this, the success of the stories of hiring these university students who like when I think about how many came through the data migration process, but then after they graduated, they in turn came back to Rogers because of the experience, because of what they learned. And I call
Mm-hmm.
it citizenship development, where you have this ability when you sit one on one with talent, you really get an idea of what they're interested in. So to give you an example, I had one student from University of Toronto who was a geography major. By the time
Mm-hmm.
we sat down and went through with grooming and mentoring and coaching, he became my top business analyst. And on his own, he started to learn coding and SQL. So, one of the key things when you're developing
Mm.
new talent is really sitting down and looking at people's strengths and the areas of
Yeah,
opportunities, and then coaching them through those areas of opportunities to help build them.
great.
And if I, to answer your second point there, in terms of
Sure.
cultivating, building relationships, throughout my career, I've always felt that networking is very important. So whether you're
Mhm.
connecting through LinkedIn or you're going to various different industry functions and you're meeting a lot of people, within my career, the majority of my jobs were through networking, and I still continue to network and build those relationships. And when we're talking about
Mhm.
trust, trust is respecting someone else's opinion and respecting their space. So, for example, within, if you're like as a people manager and you're working with other downstream or upstream departments, building that relationship, understanding what's necessary within other departments, helps you really collaborate and strengthen and work together, because it's not just about you. So, there's a term that says there's no I in team, it's a team
Right.
effort. So that's
Yeah.
part of when you collaborate, you build that team effort so that everyone is aligned.
Sounds amazing. It sounds like I don't know where all the time. I don't think there's enough hours in the day. It doesn't seem for
I know.
everything that you're doing with this
Yeah.
initiative. Um, what got you started with this particular
Mhm.
initiative in the beginning to get involved with this?
So when I started at Rogers, I joined the Rogers Women's Network. So I've always been an advocate for inclusion and diversity. So
Mhm.
I was fortunate to join and volunteer, so doing all this work at the side of my desk. When I
Hmm.
think it was in 2014 when the Rogers first introduced an I&D strategy. And so they broke it up into various different groups. And first it was visible minorities, and it was same thing, people with disabilities. It was the LGBTQ2S plus group, which is now called Spectrum. So employee resource groups. So I joined, which is now Rogers Mosaic. And I joined that particular group, and that group is the over, they it was every employee of, so it was black, it was people of color, it was whether or not there was Asian, South Asian. And so what we started off with is putting on like different events, um, really recognizing and showcasing what was happening, from educating employees in various different diversity and inclusion events. And from there, I became the chair of Rogers Mosaic, and we worked on really educating employees. So we did a lot of great programs, from unconscious bias to microaggressions. Um, from that as well, I launched Rogers Women of Color, the first Rogers Women of Color group, and that was in 2018. And so I was always very vested in inclusion and diversity initiatives. So when the All In program was actually when it was put out by Rogers Sports and Media, looking for someone to manage it back in 2020, I jumped at that opportunity because for me, you know, I thought it is very important. It's something I'm passionate about, giving back. And I felt this is a way for me to work and help organizations and, really showcase their products that normally they wouldn't have an opportunity to do. So I jumped at that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Um, Talk to us a little bit about some of the benefits around, the promotion and advertising campaigns, and how that might benefit the communities where these programs are coming out of.
Okay, that's a great question. So the All In initiative is all about enabling the equity deserving communities, right? Removing barriers, mentoring, and sponsorship, changing the way we hired. And, using our Rogers Media megaphone is really to drive positive change in society to help everyone become more inclusive across Canada. Some of the benefits is for these and opportunities for these businesses or charities to make their brand more visible, and especially if they have new products to launch or are looking for ways to drive awareness for donations and funding.
Sharon, I'm just thinking here as we're rolling through this interview that you're such a woman of, you said, purpose and passion and people. You have such a skill set there, times 1,000. Did you see yourself as a young girl, say I guess a 17-year-old girl, reaching this kind of success, not only making a difference in your job, in your professional life, and in your community, but personally, did you ever think that you would have this much to do with how greatly you're affecting the world outside of Rogers, being a spokesperson and a mentor and all of that?
You know what? If I think back to being a young girl, I'm being very honest. At the time, being 17, I was very interested I used to model professionally. So I was very interested in the arts,
Okay.
modeling, a
Mm-hmm.
bit of
Mm-hmm.
acting I did. Um, if I look at within my family, the people that were pushing anything to do within the community was my mom and my sister. My sister did a lot of work in Guyana um, for people in the industry. She was a minister in the government.
Mm-hmm.
She spoke
Mm-hmm.
across the United, um, across Latin America on different issues pertaining to women issues, um, the right for the girls. So when I think
Mm-hmm.
about, and I'm looking at where I am today, and I'm thinking and going backwards, it had to have been stemmed some way, sometimes embedded in you, because my mom was doing
Yeah.
the work within the community in her church. My sister was out there as a face within the government doing all of this amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I didn't think about it that way. I was involved in smaller church activities, but
Yeah.
when you think about your life and the journey to where you are today, sometimes you have to go
Mm-hmm.
through bumps and bruises, which I've gone through. You have to go through certain challenges to get to this
Yeah.
point to go, you know what? There's a reason why I went through those different challenges in my life like before.
With
Thank
with
you.
all that being said, Sharon, what advice would you have for a young um, person who was looking and coming up? Now, I have a daughter, the girls know, who's 25, about to turn 26, and she's very, very passionate, just like you. You remind me of her actually a lot. And she's
Yeah.
got her psychology degree, and she just come back from Europe. She's doing global affairs, and she has a huge passion for social injustices of the world, and women's rights, indigenous, and all of that. So what advice would you have in the last minute of the show for young people?
You know what? Listen to those that are around you. I got a lot of great advice from my mentors. Um, and one of the key things is, community service, I believe, is very important and we should all somehow practice community service. It doesn't matter um, what job or what title we hold. So my advice for young girls, especially now, and what they should be doing and moving forward, is always I practice that 33% rule where, 33% of you aspire to be like, your mentors. You've got like-minded people that you align with, but giving back is very important. So find a way to give
Mm-hmm.
back within your community, wherever that is across Canada. Or if you can get on any boards or any non-for-profit, to me,
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good way to really give back and do well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. We really appreciate you taking the time. We want to make sure that if you want some more information about All In, that you check out the Rogers Sports and Media website. And a deadline for applications is February 13th. So please check that out, and we'll see y'all right after the break. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, joined by my ever stunningly beautiful co-hosts, Judy Loge and Audrey Lynch.
That's our laugh.
Welcome
That's
back,
our laugh
everybody.
every show. Thanks.
Got to kick it off somewhere, right? It's a snowy Monday here, and we want to make sure that we're kicking it off the right way.
Positively.
Definitely.
So we just finished a fantastic segment with incredible information, and we're jumping right into our next one. We have a wonderful new guest, and of course, new to the show as well. So we're very happy to have you joining us today. So we have Alyssa Margin, who is the project manager with the Red Cross here in New Brunswick. And we're just so glad to have you join the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you. First time guests are awesome.
Yeah, I know. We love that part, eh? So we do know a little bit about you, but we'll have you tell the viewers all about you so that they can get to know you as well.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity to be here to talk a bit about the work I'm doing at the Red Cross. But before I get into that, a little bit about me. My name is Alyssa Margin. I was born in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I have worked primarily in both academic and clinical research and public and community health. I studied in Nova Scotia for a little bit, and then also studied in the United Kingdom for a short while. And then came back to Canada, and now I am living in St. John and supporting the two programs that I am excited to talk to you all about today.
And we and the viewers want to hear all about those two programs. So the two particular programs that you oversee are Connection NB and Friendly Call, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us about each one of those separately, Alyssa, a little bit about.
Sure. So I wanted to talk about and highlight these two programs because one of them is recently new, and it was developed to support the COVID pandemic, and that is the Friendly Calls program. And the Connection New Brunswick program is actually just set to launch in a few weeks, so it's brand new. We haven't started it yet, so I really wanted to highlight these two programs in the community. The Friendly Calls program, like I said, we started back in May of 2020. Recognizing a lot of people were feeling isolated and lonely because of the pandemic. What it essentially is, and the name of the program gives it away a little bit, but it's a Friendly Calls program. So our Red Cross volunteers will provide calls to our participants or clients as just a friendly chat to connect, to talk about things that interest them, really just to offer companionship during this difficult time where we're really all feeling very lonely. So it is a program that's offered to anybody over the age of 18. We offer the program in English and French, and participants are paired with a Red Cross volunteer and kind of set a call schedule. So some might want a couple calls a week, some might want just one call a week, some of them just want a quick check-in, 10 minutes here and there, or others, really enjoy that longer, lengthier, deeper conversation with their volunteer. It really just depends on the person.
Okay.
And
great.
So that's, Friendly Calls in a nutshell. And the Connection New Brunswick program is a new pilot program that we're actually launching in 4 communities to pilot to start, and Miramichi is one of them. So it is a Healthy Seniors pilot project, and it is offered to seniors, so those who are 65 years or older. And again, these seniors will be paired with a Red Cross volunteer who will meet with them either at home, in the community, or just over the phone. And they will really offer their support in connecting them to services. So I guess the program itself, that is the service we're offering. I guess we're not, the volunteers are not there to do, housekeeping or grocery deliveries. They're really just there to say, let's navigate this really tricky system that we sometimes find ourselves in, and find you the right services that are in the community, because there's a lot out there. It's just discovering them and uncovering what is out there and what will best fit with that person.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those two programs sound absolutely amazing, and definitely something that many communities can use. Now, you talk both these programs specifically about the Red Cross volunteers that will be used in order to run these programs. Can you tell us a little bit about the importance of volunteering?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as a Red Cross employee, I can say that Red Cross volunteers are really, the backbone of our organization, of the programs that we run. So they are so integral to what we're doing, and they really run and lead the programs that we are offering in our community. So it is really important for us as an organization to have those volunteers, and we find so much value in them, and not only in just kind of, I guess, operating our programs, but we get a lot back from them too. They have really creative ideas that they can offer. They are, working in the front line, so they know how things work, and they can also offer that support. And that's why we see the value in the volunteers that will be supporting these programs, that are supporting Friendly Calls, but also particularly Connection New Brunswick, because they will be the ones connecting with these seniors, having those deeper conversations that they otherwise might not get from anybody else, sometimes even including their healthcare providers. Our systems are very exhausted right now, and other healthcare providers might not have that time to sit down and have that really meaningful conversation. So our volunteers are really well positioned to be able to do that, and provide so much value to the programs that we offer. We wouldn't really be here without them.
Yes.
I'm assuming I actually wanted to add a second part to that question. The need for volunteers, Alyssa, is that something that is always ongoing with the Red Cross, or are there certain areas that need them more than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have quite a few volunteers supporting the Friendly Calls program right now. We have about, across Atlantic, I think there's about 130 volunteers supporting, but we always need more, because we always have new clients coming to us that want those calls. So for the Friendly Calls program, absolutely, we definitely need volunteers for that program. Connection New Brunswick, like I said, is a new program, and is really volunteer led. Right now in the Miramichi area, we don't have any volunteers to support that program that have kind of, raised their hand to support the program. So we really, really would love to connect with volunteers for this program. They will be integral, and as soon as we have them, we'll be able to launch and support the seniors in the Miramichi area.
Good to know. Viewers listening.
So how does one become a volunteer with the Red Cross? What does that process look like? And I mean, listen, Miramichi is absolutely known for its volunteers, and New Brunswick as a whole, but sometimes we need a little push and a little guidance. So how does one become a volunteer for the Red Cross?
Yeah, so you can just visit our website, and there is an application there to apply to the different positions. So you would be applying to a specific position, and not just any volunteer opportunity, I suppose. So those are on our website. After that person applies, we do provide some kind of online self-directed training that is kind of standard across our organization. We do background checks. We do a police check, and in some cases, a vulnerable sector check as well. And once those things are satisfied, the volunteer would be connected with the program manager or the coordinator for that particular role that they applied for, and would receive some more program specific training that will really support them in their program. And that training could look very different depending on the role that they're applying for. For the Friendly Calls program, it's about 3 hours total. And again, it depends on the person because it is online self-directed. But in general, it takes about 3 hours to do, become a Friendly Calls volunteer. Connection B, because there's a bit more, I guess, interaction with seniors and creating action plans with them, and kind of a bit more, there is a bit more training involved for the Connection and the program volunteer. And that's looking like more like 2 half days of volunteer training, very specific to that role, where we will talk about communicating with older adults and how to interview older adults, kind of the signs of healthy aging, the signs of unhealthy aging. So it's quite, in my opinion, an interactive experience that the volunteers will get. It is maybe compared to other roles, a little bit more training is involved, but I think the skills that people will gain from that training and that experience as a whole is really invaluable.
It's true.
Well, and I think
We want to.
oftentimes,
Oh, sorry, girl. Yeah.
no, just a quick add there is I think oftentimes what happens is when we think of the Red Cross, particularly, we think of a very physical type of volunteering. You always see it on TV. The Red Cross is, going in when there's been a flood and filling sandbags or whatever it may be. So it's nice to know that there are some opportunities for those who may not be necessarily that physical or want to do that kind of physical work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for both these programs, over the phone support can really happen. You can be in your pajamas. Like, you really can offer this support wherever you are. And it's nice because it's very flexible for those people who might not have a lot of time to travel to a location and back. You can do this from the comfort of your home, even if we're in lockdown. So it's a nice role that people can take on, and it's also very gratifying as well.
Yes. And you're such a warm personality, and you do have a very, very big job. And you alluded to the fact that things have certainly been challenging during these past couple of years. Going over that now, we're into our third year with the pandemic. But tell us about the impact that you feel, these programs. One's already in the works and has been, and one is launching. So the impact that it's had on people in New Brunswick, and that the other one that's yet to come will also have.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot from our participants from the Friendly Calls program. That's the experience we have so far for the last almost 2 years, is that people are feeling very isolated, very lonely. With our Friendly Calls program, we noticed that during the holidays, the call durations would increase. So people seem to be, really wanting longer conversations. And I think that is an effect of people feeling really lonely. Some holidays can be very difficult for people. Several holidays we've been in, had restrictions. We've been in lockdown. I think people are really missing their families and just really missing that interaction and that connection so badly. So that's what we've seen for the program. And alternatively, for the Connection New Brunswick program, I think what we're going to see, even as we kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel and get out of this pandemic, I think there are a lot of programs that have either paused for the time being or completely shut down. Maybe there's new restrictions in place, and I think people will find it very helpful to have a volunteer kind of alongside of them, saying, well, what is out there? What can we connect with? Because a lot of things have stopped. A lot of things have changed. So I think that will be really helpful as we come out of the pandemic, and people are still needing those supports. That hasn't changed in the pandemic or outside of the pandemic. Seniors still need that kind of support as they age. And I think that will be a really key value to the Connection New Brunswick project as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alyssa.
Actually, you had sort of answered my question there. I was going to refer specifically to the pandemic and how that has affected the Red Cross as a whole, because these two new programs obviously are, a great help because of the pandemic. But you were saying that other programs have stopped or changed due to it?
I guess I was just referring to other programs in the community. We've, for both of the programs, have tried to connect with as many people as possible, and we've just
Mm-hmm.
noticed that a lot of stuff has changed, a lot of stuff has paused, a lot of the committees that would normally be meeting have not been meeting. So
Mm.
that's, I think that there's been a lot of effects in those kind of areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. And, talk to us a little bit about some of the services that, the Red Cross has provided in the past. And I know right now these are two new programs, but there's so much that the Red Cross does in the community, not just in times of disaster or tragedy or whatever it may be. But talk to us a little bit about what the Red Cross does.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely more versed in these programs here, but I mean, those are two of our really main, one of the two main health and wellness programs that we offer. We also offer the health equipment loan program. So that is health equipment like walkers that you can rent from the Red Cross. So that's a really integral program as well. And of course, like you mentioned, Veronique, we have the our disaster and emergency management programs as well. They've supported a lot of the COVID response during the pandemic throughout it in various different ways as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we're just about out of time. It's hard to believe that these segments just fly by. So in the last minute or so, is there any additional information that you really want our New Brunswickers to know about either about these two programs or even about getting in touch with you?
Sure. Yeah. So if anybody's listening and is interested in connecting with the Friendly Calls program, you can call our phone number, and I have it here. It's 1-833-729-0144, and you can get registered to participate. And for the Connection New Brunswick program, although we haven't launched yet, if you are interested or if you know a family member or have a neighbor that you feel could really benefit from this, you can visit our website at connectionnb.redcross.ca to find more information.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with us. And, we want to thank both of our guests for sharing their experiences and what they do for a living and really what's affecting us and Canadians across the country in such a positive way. So thanks to everybody. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week. And you know what? Have a little snack and a beverage for me.
Yes, all of us. Take care. Thank you very much for being with us.